Hi, and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's quick review for 13 Reasons Why Season 2. Now, this video is a part of a series of videos where I give a quick spoiler-free review of a show currently airing. For this video, I will tackle Season 2 of 13 Reasons Why. Now, typically with the quick reviews, I don't tackle additional seasons unless it's in the same video I cover Season 1, because it's usually for first-timers who've never seen the show before. However, for this show, I thought it would be great to tackle Season 2 for those who have seen Season 1 and are wondering perhaps if Season 2 is worth it or if they should watch it, and to give sort of my thoughts and recommendations on that. Now, when I did my review, both the spoiler-free and the spoiler review of Season 1 of 13 Reasons Why, I said that I thought this show was very self-contained in the first season, and it was hard, when I heard the news it was getting a second season, it was hard to imagine that they could actually keep the story going without it feeling tacked on or unnecessary. And there's been other shows like The Leftovers and Stranger Things where it also seemed that way. It also seemed like Season 1 was really self-contained, and having an additional season seemed a bit unnecessary. But in those cases, the Season 2 actually did turn out to be great, and it did show that the show could go beyond just that first season. And so I felt that made me hopeful, made me think that maybe 13 Reasons Why would be the same sort of thing where it would surprise me and it would show that Season 2 was totally worth it and needed to exist. So my verdict is, unfortunately, that's not the case. That my suspicions that this story would be better self-contained and that a second season was unnecessary actually turned out to be pretty spot on. I actually feel that this show should have been an anthology series where they actually could have done a lot of great things, where they just totally changed focus for the next season, had a totally different high school, totally different cast of characters, and told a similar yet different story. I think there's potential there because there's a lot of topics, a lot of things people like. Now, I heard a lot of people who didn't like Season 2 also bashing Season 1, which I disagree. I still think Season 1 was one of the best seasons of television out there. I absolutely loved it, fell in love with it. Season 2 fell really short for me. Now, I'm not saying Season 2 totally sucked. There were things about it I liked. I did binge watch the show in a couple of seasons. It kept me interested enough to want to keep coming back. And there were certain storylines, certain character stories that really worked for me. But overall, I don't think there's more. What didn't work for the show outweighed what did work for the show. Now, in Season 1, it was more like the first part of the season I thought was amazing. It dipped in the middle with a couple of unnecessary episodes, and then it got even more amazing, like spectacular, towards the end. Whereas with Season 2, it remained consistently mediocre throughout. There were a few exceptions. There was one episode that I really liked, but I don't think, again, it wasn't as great as what they did in Season 1, but it was a good episode. And there was one episode I absolutely hated, absolutely could not stand it, made me angry. There's very few episodes and current shows that I watched that, not just bad, that they're colossally bad, and they piss me off, and they make me really upset. And that happened with an episode in this season, that it was absolutely horrible. But the rest of the episodes were mediocre. They had their ups and highs. Some things that worked, some things that didn't work. Although I would say that the things that didn't work were more numerous than the things that did. And the things that didn't work were worse than the things that didn't work about Season 1. If that makes any sense. It just, it's sort of, in some ways, it enhances the characters. You get different perspectives on different characters, because from Season 1, you basically, Hannah was your narrator, and so you're getting the perspective of all the characters through her eyes, where here, each character is their own narrator, so you get their perspective of the events, which I think was a really cool concept, good idea. It just wasn't executed as well as it could have been. Sometimes it works, but in many times they don't do enough with this idea that they should have. And the through storyline with the mysteries that are brought up in the season, I think, were not very well developed, and they mostly fall a bit short. And to be frank, towards the end of the season, it gets into really silly territory. Like, they tackle some serious issues. And I still hold true that season 1 did an amazing job of tackling controversial issues. Season 2, not so much. In fact, there's a couple times where they try to tackle important issues where I think it just comes off as hokey and very obviously TV. Because one of my praises of season 1 is I felt this felt very realistic. It wasn't like a typical teenage drama show. It had more fleshed out characters, and it felt like what I felt like when I was in high school. But that's no longer true with season 2. Season 2 is a typical over-dramatized, clearly scripted TV show that doesn't actually feel like how I felt in high school, for the most part. I mean, there's a few, as I said, there's a few storylines, there's a few beats that it hits that do hit that realistic thing, but overall, like the through story, it just doesn't work. And a lot of character stories, especially the main character Clay, their storylines get very muddled, where it's very clear and very well structured and well defined in the first season. In the second season, it's just all over the place, and it just muddles the particular story, and not in a good way at all. So, my rating for 13 Reasons Why Season 2 out of 10 is a 5 average. As I said, there were some things about the season. I did like some character stories that did work for me, but for the most part, most of them didn't. And just the story structure was all over the place. And it just got into silly. It degraded, and it's probably, I would hold this in lower esteem, even though there were a lot of things I did like about this season. I would hold it in lower esteem because it took an amazing show and turned it into like another mediocre teenage drama that's not very well thought out. So as for the question of will I watch the next season, the answer is no. I'm not going to watch If Season 3, and there probably will be one. I'm not sure. Apparently the critics all don't like this show, and I think for good reason. So, but if it gets the ratings, if it gets the views, if people watch it, and if she's a band, they'll make a Season 3. And it ended in a way where they were definitely setting up for a Season 3, and I just think either make it an anthology show or end it, because I think Season 2 proved that they can't do any more with these characters, and they'll just end up retconning everything and muddling up and making it all messy. So if there is a Season 3 and it has the same characters and it follows the same storyline, then I'm not going to watch it, quite frankly. I'm not going to waste my time with it. I still love Season 1. I always love Season 1, but I'm not going to watch any more of this show. Anyway, that is it for my quick review of 13 Reasons Why Season 2. I will actually simultaneously be putting out a spoiler-filled video for those who have seen Season 2 of 13 Reasons Why. If you want me to go into more detail and specifics of what I was saying in this video, you can check out that video. I'll be getting into the nitty-gritty of what I liked and what I didn't like about Season 2 of 13 Reasons Why. Anyway, you can check out my channel as I do many more videos and other shows like The Expanse, Game of Thrones, Star Trek, Babylon 5, and more, so be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of that. And thanks a lot for watching.